So welcome everyone. We have so far looked at what we call sensory receptors. With sensory receptors, we emphasize that they convert stimulus energy into action potentials. And these action potentials are sent to the brain for interpretation. So we are going to look at photoreceptors or photoreceptor cells and see how they convert light energy into action potentials that are sent via the optical nerve or the optic nerve, not optical nerve, through the optic nerve to the brain for interpretation. Okay, so in this presentation, we want to look at how these cells look like, and then after that, we shall look at this the second session that will actually look at the light perception. Okay, that is how that transduction happens. So it is very important for us to first know the structure of these photoreceptor cells and how they are arranged in the retina before we look at how transduction happens. So the cells responsible for converting light into neural signals or action potentials are the ones that we call the photoreceptor cells. That means that everything that we see, our vision is because of these photoreceptor cells converting that light into electrical signals. Without them, there is nothing that the brain can use to interpret what it has seen. Okay, so that means that it is the photoreceptor cells that are the foundation of the visual system. Okay, of course, it's basically, it's like the starting point. Yes, the light enters the eye and then lands onto the retina. And then on the retina, that's where you have the photoreceptor cells. And then from there, the journey goes until the brain, and until the information reaches the brain, and then the brain does the interpretation. You have already seen the eye, and we also saw that we had the retina where you have these photoreceptor cells. And we have two types of photoreceptor cells. Those are the rods and the cones. So along the retina, you have the photoreceptor cells. Okay, we have the cones, and then we also have the rods. Okay, so that means that these photoreceptor cells are basically embedded within the retina. Okay, so the retina has layers. We'll see that the first layer is the choroid layer, what you see here. And then that choroid layer has a pigmented membrane there. And then on top of that, that is where you have the rods and the cones connecting. So these are the rods, these are the cones. Okay. So the retina has layers. Okay. The photoreceptor layer, that's where we find is rods and cones. This one, as far we actually call them rods or cones. So you can see that these are the shape there in like a rod. Okay, and the base is here is a cone. Okay, cone. So these ones are rods. This one is a cone. Okay, so we have a layer that has this photoreceptor cells, and it is what begins from here up to here. And then this is the choroid epithelium on top of these rods and cones. And then there is this layer of pigment where the rods and cones basically are attached to. Okay, so that is the photoreceptor layer. The second layer is the intermediate layer. The intermediate layer, it starts from here to here. That's the photoreceptor layer. So that it has bipolar neurons. Okay, bipolar neurons. These bipolar neurons are the ones that connect to the actual synapse. That connection between nerves and neurons is what we call a synapse. Okay, so there is a synaptic connection. So that's why we actually, this region here, we call it the synaptic region, because we have several synapses here. So you see this rod is connecting to these bipolar neuron here. Okay, so that means that this is a synaptic region. This is also a synaptic region. And then we also have what we call the horizontal and amocrine cells just within the intermediate membrane. So it is very important for you to note that we have horizontal cells and then amocrine cells. They play an important role in what we call lateral inhibition that we will basically look at shortly. And then down here, we have ganglion cell layer. Okay, so we have ganglion cells that connect. So we move from photoreceptors, then we move to bipolar neurons, and then we move to ganglion cells. Okay, remember the layer where you have the synaptic region is within that, where you have the amocrine and the horizontal cells. Okay, so it is the axons from these bipolar neurons are the ones that form the optic nerve that carries this information to the brain. Okay, so this is where here. So all these connect and then lead it to the optic nerve that will take the information to the brain. So if we are to pick the photoreceptor cells or the photosensitive cells and look at them critically, we also say that they have regions. Remember, the regions that we have just looked at, or the layers that we have just looked at, are for the whole retina. Now, if you pick out the photosensitive cells, what regions do they have? They have the outer region, which is base here. This is the outer region. So one of the outer region, for example, for the rods, it's rod shaped. Okay, they have rod shape. They are rod shaped, and then they have what you call a photopigment. Okay, and that photopigment in the rod is what you call rhodopsin. So within the rods, in the outer segment, you have rhodopsin. Okay, and then you have the cone, which has a photosensitive pigment also called the iodopsin. Okay, so you need to know these photosensitive pigments because they will play an important role in the transduction that we shall talk about. So all of them, you can see they have these foldings, these flattened membranes. This is where this photopigment is actually where you find it. Okay, we can call it light sensitive pigment, or you can call them photosensitive pigments, okay, or photopigments basically. So we know what is contained in the rods. We also know what is contained in the cones. So we move to the second part, the second region, which is the constriction. So the constrictions are here. These are the constrictions. You'll see that the constrictions have cilia, okay? I have a pair of cilia there. The function of this cilia is not actually well known. So we move to the inner segment, where you will find the nucleus, you'll find the mitochondria and other organelles such as the ribosomes. That means that it's basically where you have most of the organelles. Remember, we'll see that the process of generation of the work or the mechanism of function of the photoreceptor will involve, of course, issues to do with the utilization of energy. That's why possession of mitochondria is very, very important. Okay, so in the inner segment, which is basically this region here, that's where you find those organelles. And then the synaptic region, where you have this the photoreceptor cells connecting with the bipolar neurons or bipolar cells. So there are two things that you need to take note of, because they will also be very important in our subsequent discussions. And one is what we call the synaptic convergence. Okay, synaptic convergence that we see in the rods. So what is the synaptic convergence in the rods?